It's not going red yet. So. Okay, now it's starting to record. Cheryl, yours.
Okay, good. Oh, here's Donna coming in.
Let her in.
Good thinking. All right. Well, since we have a quorum, I'm going to call this meeting to order. And I guess we shall move on with approval of minutes. I want to thank you all for attending, such as it is. And maybe one of these days with each other. But this is good. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve or amend, or first amend or whatever the minutes. And if there's no discussion of the minutes, then we will just I'll wait for an approval.
Okay. And I'll make the motion.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right, all in favor? Yes?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 We have no audience comments, despite the fact that Ed fishes for them.
No, there is no emails that we received on the agenda or any other issues.
Okay. Okay, I think you've all gotten a copy of the PACD monthly report in your packet. Should be next. Comments on that, Ed? Anything you want to highlight?
Nothing comes to mind right now. No.
Okay. I looked at it. I didn't see anything that was pertinent to us, but I'm not the most knowledgeable. So, alrighty. Okay, I will entertain a motion request to file all bank statements for audit.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Wade. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, we're whipping right through this agenda. You may notice that a number of things have none next to them. So we have no emergency reviews. We have, of course, no need for a motion then, and no checks to be signed. But now we're down to old business, I guess, right? Yep. So under old business, what's up with the memorandum of understanding between the district and the county council?
Okay, we're keeping that on as a placeholder, but it has been submitted to the solicitor, Mr. Martin, and I've talked to him and sent him a reminder as he asked me after 2 weeks, but I have not heard back from him as yet.
Okay, so it's just hanging fire, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Next up is Karen with our Facebook page update. All right, so I can hear myself. We're sharing here.
Our Facebook likes have gone up.
You can take your mask off, maybe. No?
I do, but I'm sitting next to Gina, so I want to keep it on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, our Facebook likes have gone up to above 200, and our follows, I'm sorry, have gone up to about 200. We didn't make as many posts last month as we did the month before, but we're still staying pretty consistent with sharing our partners' Facebook posts and announcements. So yeah, it's still going pretty well. Ed shared one of our posts, and it looks like we got over 6,000 views on the post.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're getting our information out there.
I think this has certainly been a good maneuver, because people are getting to see what you're doing, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and it helps us share our partners' information too.
Right.
Like today, we shared a grant opportunity on Facebook, so
Right.
it's a good way to get that kind of information out there too.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Well, that seems good. I'm excited by it. It's delightful to be able to go there and see what's happening with other groups as well. It's kind of a one-stop shopping.
Yep.
Mhm. So thanks, Karen.
Yeah, so all the directors, if you could help promote it by sending out the link to our Facebook page, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I do that, but I can do it again. It's okay. All right, thanks, Ed. Okay, next up is the PA State Envirothon competition.
Yeah, I don't remember how at the last meeting with the county event, we had it on April 27th, and Pencrest was the only participant we had this year. They did very well, both teams, but the red team for the first time in the history of the Envirothon overtook the gold team. So it was the younger team, except for they had one senior, and most of them were younger students. So they went on to go to the state competition, and it was held virtually as well, and they did very well there. They finished second in the competition,
Excellent.
just behind Monroe County. With Monroe County hasn't won before, but that Monroe was at first with 501 points, and we were like 8 points behind that, and then York was about the same behind us. York was the third place team.
Mhm. So we didn't win, but our usually second team did very well. Right?
Yes, especially with it being that they didn't expect to win the first time at their local
Right.
event. So yeah, they had to really jump it up quick, and they did very well. I was very impressed, especially with the amount of information that was out there, and you had to send the YouTube videos out in advance. So there was lots of opportunities for people to not play by the book, but everybody must seem to be. So it worked out pretty much the way it normally did in the competition.
Excellent. So this was all done virtually as well, right?
Yes, for this year. And the national is going to be the same way, the
Wow.
international event. And hopefully they'll get back to normal next year, except that Laurel Stich, who is the Envirothon coordinator, has announced her retirement. So they're trying to find a replacement for her, which is going to be some very big shoes to fill.
Right. That's the problem with having someone who does a really good job for a long time. Nobody's really groomed to take over necessarily, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm glad that they did well. I'm happy. Next up, the Conservation District fee for service schedule. This has been on our minds for a while now, and let's see what's up this month.
Yeah, I just want to start the ball rolling here. Hopefully we'll have it look over the fees and make a decision so we can implement any changes that we want to make in beginning of next year. The first thing I'd like to do today is look over the fee comparison. I had Ari do the comparison for us. Basically, I submitted two to you. One was the one that I normally do every time we look at fees, and it's basically a list of projects, random projects that were selected many years ago, based on their disturbed acres and also their project acres, and then calculated the fees for Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and Lehigh. So the surrounding counties to see where we're at. And the handout you'll find in your packet explains that Lehigh is the highest almost for everything. Their fees are high in comparison to everybody. In fact, of the total review fees, our fees would have totaled $28,000, round figures, and theirs would have been $190,000. So that's a big discrepancy.
That's a big difference, yes.
But you can see the other ones as well. The next closest one to us is, I believe that's Montgomery County, and they were at 67,000. The other method of looking at the fees was based on just project acres, taking the fee schedule, 1 acre site, how everybody would charge for that, and all the way up to 110 acre site, what it would be. And we are the lowest in every one of those categories, and Lehigh is the highest again. And then the other ones switch back and forth depending on the amount of acreage. The only thing that we
Ed, this is. Oh,
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
This is Linda. No, that's okay. So first of all, I found that chart extremely useful. So if I'm understanding it clearly, and I'm sorry, I have a mask on, I have to because I'm in public. So you took hypothetical, I mean, they're developments, but you put them all through what would be the district's current fee schedule for each of these kind of hypothetically being reviewed at the district offices. That's what you do there for that chart?
Yes, these are actual projects we had 20 some years ago that came in here.
Okay. And that's just running it through so that you can compare okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it looked like. And that was really interesting. So do you take into account, because a couple of the districts actually have post-construction stormwater delegation. So their fee includes that, right?
Well, no, this fee only is the base fee. It wouldn't include,
Okay.
in Chester County, they also have what's referred to as their tier program, which they have I think it's like $1,000 extra for fees. If you have too much impervious, you need to have an MRC, and there's a lot of steep slopes. They actually charge $1,000 more per plan. We didn't include those because that's sort of arbitrary. The other thing that we don't include is that our review fee is for 2 reviews. Most of the other ones have now switched to it's the first review, and the second review they have a different fee for the second review. So they're even higher yet.
Like a third or something. Okay.
Right, that's what we do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. It's fascinating comparison. So anyway, I'll mute myself again.
It does seem like in almost every case, we are the low.
Yeah, the only thing that we need to look at is we do a little different. Everybody else does it on disturbed acreage. We elected way back when to do it on project acreage.
Right.
However, we'll extract big areas that are going to be left in open space. But the problem was the amoeba shaped limited disturbance. In other words, people would come in with a limited disturbance trying to say that they'd never disturb it, and make it almost impossible to review the plans. And it actually took longer to sometimes do that. Then they ended up disturbing those areas anyhow afterwards. So we did it by project acres. So it's actually harder to review a residential project than it is an industrial site, because the controls are spread out all throughout the site and around different things. So that's the only thing we do different. I guess we could take a look at that and see how that would change if we decided to go to disturbed acre fee. I think with the way things are done now with project definitions by DEP, they're taking out a lot of the open space areas anyhow from the plan. So I don't know that it really makes our fees any higher in some certain categories than others. In other words, if we had a Villanova site and they were going to develop a new building, it wouldn't be for all Villanova campus. The project area would be only for the area around the actual new building. Residential ones, that's a little different. If you had a site with a lot of wetlands, then those wetlands throughout the site would be in your project area, even though they're not going to be building on them. But so that's something we need to take a look at when we're looking at our fee schedule.
Ed, can you answer what would it take? What is the process of changing the fee schedule? Is that an internal process?
Yes, it's all. Sorry, Elaine. Yes, it's all internal, and we would first what we would we'd usually do is that we approve it, get it approved by the board, and then we go to county council to have it approved as well to endorse it. And then we have to send it to the State Conservation Commission for their records. They don't really do a review because they have no standards other than a few simple rules that we have to follow. But it's a requirement that we submit it to them for documentation.
And do you, is it your position that the fee schedule should change?
Yeah, there's lots of things that we need to change in the fee schedule just to keep up with the way DEP has changed it. The cost of living has increased. We added additional staff person, so there are increased expenses. So we have some, and definitely the benefits have increased over time since 2015. And our expenses for our program, we have to make sure that we don't charge any more for the ENS fees than we pay for expenses in that program alone. So we can't charge more money to do agricultural work, say. We have everything that we do, we have to base it on what it costs to run our ENS program. So we have to do a little bit of cost analysis too as well to find out what it's costing us. We've been running about current, matching that every year. So we were pretty good until just recently. I think with adding the fringe benefits in, we're falling behind in our fees.
Ed, when is the last time that we raised our fees?
2015, right?
Okay. And for years, at least more than 25 years that I've been on the district board, we have always been the lower cost of the surrounding counties, at least Chester County, Montgomery County, and Bucks. I'm curious, based on what you just said, which I recall about there can't be some windfall by what we're charging. How is it that Lehigh can charge as much money as they charge? I mean, could their expenses be that much higher than ours? It doesn't seem like it makes sense.
Well, all the districts involved have a lot more staff than we do. So in other words, we get cost share money for our technicians. So since we don't have as much staff, that cost of running our program is offset by those state grants that we get for that money.
Right.
So they have additional technicians that don't get any cost share, so they have to make up that cost. Chester County's now they're hiring a second engineer to try to keep up with the post-construction stormwater. So they have many more employees to meet the workload that they have.
Okay.
That's the difference, I think.
Okay.
And the
I
other
think
thing
that's
is,
a fair assessment, Ed.
okay. So the next step, this is just to get the ball started. Next month, I'll try to do a little bit, when we're preparing the budget, try to do a little bit of analysis to find out what our costs are. We have a rough estimate through our quarterly report system, but it doesn't really reflect all the cost. So I can get that a little bit closer. We're working now with the new finance director on how our reports we can obtain for. Hopefully, they're going to start putting fringe benefits actually in our budget, so we can actually look at that and track that and find out the actual costs. So we'll be able to do that more accurately. So hopefully that might not be next month, but we'll start working down that way. The other thing I know that we need to upgrade is that there's been a lot of changes in the permitting program with the minor amendment, major amendment, and all the districts have updated and have a fee now for processing minor amendments. So we don't have that in our fee schedule. I don't know that I'd want to go with the idea of charging a fee for the second review, just only because DEP changes the rules a lot, and it's hard for anybody to keep up. So I'm thinking 99% of the plans that we get in here seem to have a second review, and I don't think it's right that we would charge them for that. And the third review, we would only charge for the third review currently in our fee schedule is if we got in a stalemate. In other words, they just don't want to cooperate. Most of the time, they fix the things in the item, the second review letter, and then the third review letter is just fine tuning it with 3 or 4 items. So we never charge for that. The way I charge for the fee on the third review would be, I would notify them in my review letter that they would have to pay it. And we've done that probably 3 or 4 times last year. But that's up to the board as well to look at that. A lot of them, you do it as a way to prevent engineering firms from just submitting half-completed plans to meet some deadline and causing more work for the districts, as opposed to, they know they're not adequate, but they go and submit them anyhow just to meet a deadline that they have.
Guess there's no way to tell who's doing what, though.
No, I don't know that I have that problem here. I mean, most of the reviews I have conducted, they're not making mistakes on purpose. You know, it's not half completed plans. It's just the fact that we have changed the regulations. We look at things a little differently. Maybe the last time that they did it, or just a nuance. With MRCs is another nuance, and people don't really know how to figure that out. And if you have to go through and review all the FAQs and things, there's lots of room for making small errors that we need to address with them.
All right. So this will continue, right?
Yes, well, this was going to be a continuing series to try to take off in bits and pieces. If anybody looks at this information and has any questions in between the meetings, please let me know. We can talk about it, and so I can make sure that we get this right when we do get it done.
Okay, good. We're counting on you to do that. Thank you. All righty, that's the end of our old business. Now on to our new business, which is the July 6th Conservation District Board meeting discussion, because manager has a conflict.
Yeah, I apologize for this one. I have not missed a meeting in my whole career, but the next meeting falls when my wife's restaurant, due to COVID and stuff, they're closing in July. And so everybody has to take their vacations then. So we plan to do a small trip to Gettysburg for 3 days. And I was hoping that we could switch the meeting to July 13th, if that was amenable to the board.
Any objection?
With Frank.
Works for me, Elaine.
Okay.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good.
Randy's good with it.
Sounds good.
Well, it sounds like we have a quorum when we get there, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. Have a nice vacation.
Yeah, it'll be nice to be out away from home for a while.
Exactly. I hope the weather cooperates. So that'll be fine. So we'll change that. So everybody, it's July 13th is our next meeting.
And I will put out a public notice on that as well.
Alrighty. Okay, good. Thanks, Ed. All right. Next up is the Glen Providence Park Pond Issue Review. Karen, tell us about this.
Yeah, so Glen Providence Park has been having many issues over the years, and these issues include erosion, the pond level fluctuating, mostly decreasing over the years, an eroding spillway at the end of the pond, and then just general stream bank erosion. So recently we met with the Friends of Glen Providence Park, the County Department of Parks and Recreation, and the Public Works Department to walk the site and see what sorts of things need the most immediate attention. So our first step to get any kind of work done is to have a survey done. And this survey would measure the pond level in relation to the stream level, and the inlet pipe that brings water from the stream into the pond, and the capacity of the emergency spillway. So once this survey work is done, we'll have a better idea of what kinds of things need immediate attention and what kind of funding programs we can look into to fix those issues. Since this is a county-owned park, like I said, we're working with the other departments, Public Works and Parks Department, to hopefully take care of some of these issues and to come up with more permanent solutions rather than continuing to put Band-Aids on some of these erosion issues.
Mhm. Always good to settle it for once and for all, right?
Well,
Or we
so
think
we're taking, yeah, so we're taking baby steps to get to, hopefully, I don't know what the permanent solution is gonna be, but the first step is this survey to figure out how we can alleviate some of the more pressing issues.
Right. Important. I think that's a good process. So thanks, Karen.
Mhm.
I'll have to visit Glen Providence. Alrighty. Next up is the 2020 audit. The controller's office will select an auditor. Is that right?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that they have a new system for how they're going to select auditors this year. Quinn Bowen from the controller's office is putting out requests for proposals, and that they will provide us with a name for an auditor. And it's probably going to take us a lot more time to do an audit because the other one was done it for quite a few years, so was familiar with it. So we'll probably have to start from square one to get all our records in order. Not that there's any problems with our financial records, but we just haven't been in the practice of putting them together. So hopefully I asked Ms. Bowman if she would give us a hand to take a look at it and get us ready for the audit. And she's really backed up right now. And I don't know when the audit doesn't need to be done till the end of the year. So we got time. So hopefully we'll be able to schedule some time to look over what we have, so see what we need to organize before the audit begins.
Okay. Thanks. So this will be a whole new team of people looking at our work, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be
No,
afraid.
it's just the idea that we have a split program. So in other words, we have the county um, operating system, operating budget, and then we have our operating budget, and the old auditor used to blend it together for us. Now, I'm thinking the new auditor is going to want us to do that in advance. And so I started working on that at the beginning of the year and made a preliminary type budget and tried to weave those numbers together. So hopefully it won't take too much work to finalize it, get it done.
Okay, good. Thanks for doing that, Ed. Smoothing the way. At least. Okay, so next up, we would like to hear from Beth. Is Beth still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, goody.
Here I am.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't have anything to report, but we're here and we're working. So if anybody needs anything from us, just give me a call.
Okay, you're back in the office? Is everybody in the office?
Not yet. I'm expecting in the next couple of weeks we'll be back, but not quite.
Okay. Are you anxious for that to happen or not?
I am.
Oh, good. Okay. You need your space, huh?
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to the meeting anyway. Good to hear from you. All righty. We also have a report from Linda, where's Linda now? So she was at a train station.
Hi.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. So you can hear the background. But I don't have anything to add to my report. But I would like to just let everybody know that who used to be my supervisor, Desiree Henning Dudley, who has been with DEP for upwards of 3 decades. She actually resigned effective this coming Friday. So that's huge because I don't think that there's really anybody that even approaches her depth of knowledge that she brought to the operations section at the Southeast Regional Office. She just is going to be a huge loss. It is notable that it's a resignation, not a retirement, for a few very long-standing frustrations that she just was unable to, professional frustrations that she was unable to get any real resolution. She's only one person, and I don't think that anybody that knows her work and everything that she did well could deny that she did any less than 3 people's jobs. So it's really with very minimal staff. So it's a huge loss. And, I'm still housed, even though my position was kind of officially moved to Southeast Regional Office. I'm still housed at the Southeast Regional Office, and my position was officially moved to Central Office, I should say. But I do the same thing. I just report to different people. So, and I don't want anybody to think that I have any delusions of trying to fill her shoes, but all I'm saying is I will help out where I can until her, or even after, because whoever fills that position is going to have quite a long learning curve. So unless it's magically somebody that actually knows a lot of what she did. So I'll do the best that I can to support the district beyond, what I already do. So it's not going to be pretty, I don't think, for several of the programs and several of the things that she did. So we'll all just do the best that we can. And districts, I think, know more than most everything that Desiree does. And as of this Friday did. So we'll just see how it goes from there. But that's what I wanted to just say above and beyond my report.
Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
Sorry for your loss.
Pardon me?
I said I'm kind of sorry for your loss of having someone be a mentor or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the environment and a lot of program support that she gives that's the huge loss. So, we're just used to it. Desiree and I have worked together for 14 years of her 30-some. So, it'll be an adjustment. So, okay. Well, unless anybody has any questions, I will put myself back on mute.
No, I'm happy to see, though, that the dirt, gravel, and low-volume roads have gotten their money again this year. I just want to say my hip thing.
Oh, right.
You have that as number 1 on your report there, so I was happy to read that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, level funding. That's always good. At least level.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the other funding, position funding.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks.
Cheryl, and
Sure,
everybody.
thank you, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Next up, and there's the sound. There's Ed's report.
My report. You have a copy. I sent it late because I didn't get it attached to the list of other documents that went in. So it's separate in your packet. One of the things that we're working on is the stormwater management ordinance that needs to be done for all the municipalities in Delaware County as part of the MS4. And that's for 2022, they call the ordinance. It's due in September of 2022. And I was working with Linda Hill on that, and unfortunately, Linda has decided to retire from the county as our planning director. But Ann Stauffer and Francine have continued to discuss this issue. We met with Chester County Conservation, not Conservation District, but the Water Resources Authority, and also their building person, Jan Bowers, who was the Water Resources Coordinator. Now she's in Buildings and Facilities, and she runs the MS4 program in Chester County. And they hired a consultant to do this ordinance update. And it wasn't that our planning department couldn't do the ordinance update. It's just the liability of that they were concerned about. That's why the Chester County went with it, a consultant, and I believe that that's what planning was recommending to Francine. So that needs to be done, and then we're going, after we get that done, to work on the 167 updates, because uh, all of our watersheds except for the Brandywine has a 167 study, but they needed to be updated every 5 years, and a lot of ours are really out of date. So hopefully we can get a countywide plan, but the state is in a state of flux right now because they don't have a plan to develop the renewals right now. So we're working individually. The person that was in charge, Mr. Murphy, had retired. So we're looking at, I don't know when they'll replace that person, but so that's what we're going to be doing and try to phase this in. There's no funding available to do these updates. So we're trying to figure out how Chester County's doing it without the stormwater modeling, which is the most expensive part. So I think that it could be done. So it's just the idea that it's going to take some time, some public meetings, and we need to start to work on that after we get this ordinance issue resolved. So that was a big issue. I'm working with Gina right now. We had our files. We've been documented in our files that we were archiving information, but it didn't get transferred over onto the database. So she is now doing that process to document all the files that we have in our database that have now been archived, sent to DEP, and now are no longer in our office, to close those out. And then I have Ari working on trying to close out some of the old NPDS permits that have expired. We have to send them out a letter to let them know their permit expired. If they didn't send in their notice of termination form, to close those out. Now, some of them are going to be so old that we're going to be closing them out because that historically the DEP did not put a big priority on that. It's not really worth the enforcement potential to go and try to enforce all these, especially with companies that may not even be in business anymore. So what we'll do is just try to close them out. If we get one that says that they're still active, then we'll have to reseal the permit. The permit's expired, so they will need to renew their permit. If the permit's been closed out and everything looks good and there's not a sediment pollution problem on the site, then we'll probably those will be closed out and archived. But we're getting a lot more NOTs in now with an increased emphasis on that. And the state continues to change the NOT process and changing the rules on that because they're learning as they go. So hopefully we'll get this all worked out in short order. And my goal is to try to get rid of some of these file boxes in here that are overwhelming us in the office right now.
Yeah. All right.
The other thing I said needed to bring up was PennDOT, the District 6. It's the first time for quite a while that the actual construction manager, not the construction manager, but the maintenance manager for the county of Delaware County contacted me to set up a Zoom meeting to go over their work program on culverts and roadside scraping for the year. And that was a very good meeting, get to introduce to all the new players in the county that have changed, and that'll be helpful for our working relationship. We haven't had much of a problem with the maintenance end of PennDOT. It's usually the construction end of PennDOT. They're two separate entities that give us the most sometimes, but so that was good that they reached out to us and had that meeting. The other thing I wanted to update you on was our ENS reviews, and you can see that we had one that's overdue, and that is a pipeline project that I've been working on here to try to finalize. So we're caught back up, and I would like probably envision reinstituting the emergency review process this month to let people apply for emergency reviews again.
Do you need permission to do that?
We didn't have permission to close it, so it just
Well, then I guess not.
it's sort of a Chapter 102 thing, is that we have a delegation agreement that says that we can't let things stand in line. And first in, first out. And if we can't do our emergency reviews if we are making people go past the deadline. So once we get to the point where we're not making the deadline go past, then the emergency review can be reinstituted.
Okay. So that's in the wings, right?
Yes.
Not happening yet. Okay, any other things?
Nothing else that needs to be brought out in any detail.
All righty. Thanks, Ed.
Cheryl, I had to leave now. Is that right?
Okay, I think we voted on anything we had to vote on, which was almost nothing today. So I think you're
Okay.
okay.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
Nice to hear
Thank
you.
you, Ray.
Okay, see you.
Bye,
Okay,
Ray.
see you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. See everybody. Bye.
Okay, next up is Michelle.
Okay. One thing that I just wanted to touch on that's not on my report is the poster contest. And there's nothing on the report because I didn't do anything for it this month, but submissions were due on May 21st. We only received 12 posters in total from all the categories, and they were spread throughout from kindergarten up through high school. We have to make our first place recommendations to PACD by the end of this month. So I will put together an email and we can, I'll send a document and allow the board to vote on the posters for the categories that do need voting. So that will probably be coming next week, I would say.
All righty. I'll miss the wandering around looking at all of the cute little posters.
Yes, yeah, it's a low turnout this year, but I don't know the reasons, but hopefully next year we can get back to normal submissions. So
okay, yeah, let's hope so. It is a positive project. I like it.
Yeah, yep, and I think we'll have probably at least 4 of the 5 categories at least have posters to send to PACD. So
okay, good, and they'll know we're still alive here.
Yes, yep. And then, yeah, the other thing, just wanted to highlight, we did have a regional technicians meeting on Zoom with the Southeast districts. So that was helpful, and we didn't set a certain date of how often we would meet, but maybe twice a year. So so that was beneficial to see how everyone was operating and questions from the other districts in our region. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight was Connor and I, we presented for the Master Watershed Store program on the evening along with the ag technician from Chester County, and we touched on construction BMPs and some of the regulations. So that was, I think, beneficial. So just wanted to let you know about that. And then as far as site inspections, they were definitely down this month with holidays and a week vacation. So most of my inspections were complaints that were received. And I think that was almost all of them. It's that time of year. So, and that is all I wanted to highlight.
All right. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Lots of interference from holidays, etc., huh?
Yes. Yeah, June will be full throttle.
Right,
No
exactly.
holidays
Everything
or
will open up
vacations.
like gangbusters. Oh, there's Randy. I see Randy now. All right, next up is Connor, I believe.
Yep. Same thing Michelle highlighted. I just kind of wanted to reiterate it, that Master Watershed Sewer program that her and I had presented for. I also thought was pretty beneficial, and I even thought, as funny as it sounds, I think I even learned more from just putting it together and researching everything for it. So I thought it was great, and it was nice to hear from. We also heard from, I believe was it Chester County, their ag program representative Dan Maloser, So it was nice to hear about how that whole operation works and everything about agriculture BMP. So that was pretty interesting. What else? Yeah, I try to get out as much as I could this month. And then also, I've been trying to work with Ari as much as I could as well. He's now coming out with us on site, so kind of showing him around, showing him how we conduct inspections, how we write up reports, and yeah, just kind of, I guess, like really like anything that comes in, I try to like work with him on it if possible. And yeah, so I didn't really get around to too many permitting items, but I think between that and also working with them, we got a good bit done. But yeah, that's all I really had. If anyone has any questions.
That's okay. I think you did a good job. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So this is Linda. I just wanted to just say at the, it might be worthwhile because there are a lot of new technicians in the area, like in the districts in the surrounding area. So once things open back up for us at DEP, it might be worthwhile to kind of just get a sense of what other technicians at other districts may be interested in meeting in some central location and setting up. First, you'd have to set up a meeting, a training with, through Clean Water Academy with Mark Lonergan. But that might be something that you want to start looking at within the next month or so, just to kind of, they really get into, some of the, he can then get really into some of the like channels and swales and basin design, things like that. So anyway, that's something to put on your future radar to maybe take advantage of that.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. We have Ari did go through the Clean Water Academy in a great extent. So we're almost at the end of that process. We keep adding more, but he did go through all the courses. So.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you know that it's available to you to, and he does like to do it as a group so that several technicians are trained at once rather. They will do one-on-one, of course, but that's a lot harder to schedule. Mm-hmm. If you get a larger group, then he really feels like he's got, and then, people are asking questions that others can take advantage of the answer to. So just want to put that bug in your ear. But
okay, good. Okay. Thanks. So, Ari, what have you got to say for yourself?
So yeah, like Connor mentioned, this month I focused a lot on going out on those inspections with him, just gaining some experience on how he handles things and how those reports are written up afterwards. Actually getting out into the field is invaluable to me. So I'm really enjoying that aspect now. And then between the site inspections, I submitted, or I issued one NOT or one NOT approval, 3 like different permit applications I issued permits for, and then like Ed mentioned earlier, for the expired permits, I've sent out 10 letters so far, and I still have a good chunk more to send out, but there has been a little bit of chipping away at those. So yeah, if there's any questions or anything I can clarify, I'll gladly do it. But I'm definitely feeling more acclimated now that I can get out into the field.
Yeah. More of why you came here, right?
Yeah. I just want to work. That's it.
Well, that's an admirable quality. Well, thank you, Ari.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Karen.
So I just wanted to thank Michelle and Connor for presenting at the Master Watershed Steward training session. That was at the request of me and the Watershed Steward coordinator, and they did a phenomenal job. They presented together for about an hour, and they prompted a lot of conversation among the attendees and answered questions very well and everything. So thank you to both of you. From my report, I would like to highlight the Treevitalize Watershed grant awards. The remainder of our applications were funded. So we have 6 projects awarded in Delaware County for 2021. The 4 that were decided on in May are at Conway Park in, I believe that's Darby Township, Gillespie Park in Upper Darby, the Falls Golf Course, and Haverford Reserve, which is right near the Community Recreation and Environmental Center. Moving down my report, we are applying for a grant through the Pennsylvania Association of Conservation Districts for a multifunctional buffer project on behalf of Haverford Township. So we'll be working with them to install multifunctional buffers at 3 sites throughout Haverford. They're smaller sites. Altogether, they add up to 1.5 acres, and it's approximately a $10,000 grant request. So we'll be submitting that application very soon. And the last thing that I wanted to highlight on my report is updates on the low volume road program. I did reach out to everyone to see what the status of their projects are, and they are all aiming for fall construction. So we'll have a busy low volume road season this coming fall, hopefully.
Oh, good.
And that's all that I wanted to highlight, unless anyone has any questions.
I think that's good. Thank you, Karen. All righty. It looks like we're coming toward the end of our meeting. How about that? So thank everybody. It looks like the next meeting will be, to remind you, July 13th. Same time, same place.
No, we're going to try to mimic what the county council is doing, and they are opening public meetings as of tomorrow. So we will try to do at least a hybrid type meeting. So we'll have it open to the public at our next July meeting. We'll try to set it up so people can still call in if they're not comfortable coming in just yet. And we'll also monitor the whether there's any Memorial Day spikes that they're concerned about,
right,
or any changes. But as it plans now, the county council has opened their meetings to the public, and I think that we will be allowed to do that as well. Hopefully the rules for the state will be out by then too, on a mask and everything else. So we'll figure that all out. But we'll try to do some type of hybrid meeting for the next meeting. So any directors that can come in are welcome to come in, and we'll still do the dial-up service as well for a while.
Excellent. We'll try to catch everybody this way. No objections, right? Alrighty, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All right, thanks, Randy.
Second.
Second? Who was the second?
Frank.
Frank. Oh, okay, good. I didn't see you, Frank. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And maybe we'll see you next month.
Aye.
Who knows?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sharon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.